Hi there, you are tuned into Beauty and Braids, the podcast where I, Karen Tenard, has conversations about all things relevant to personal growth and development. Just a heads up, I'm unfiltered. You're welcome. Hi, everybody. Look, today I have a beautiful individual with me. I have Andromeda Peters, who actually was Miss USA from 2018 to 2019, and she's a sister, so you know what I'm saying, so big up to that. So I'm just gonna hey, hi Andromeda, welcome.
Hello. So good to be here. And I know everyone does it, but I was actually Miss United States 2018, 2019. Very, very similar. But yeah, there's so many different pageant systems and we're all Black. So.
Okay, all right. Thanks for correcting.
It's a good problem to have.
Exactly. Okay, so how are you doing?
I'm doing really good. I'm so excited to be here. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just excited to have you because when I seen you on BBW Con, I was like, oh, I need to interview you because not only do you model and act, but you're also a therapist, right?
Yes.
And last year, was it last year? I feel like, yeah. So last year, 2 years, I think since 2008. I started going to therapy and then I ended it last year, December. So that was big for me. Like, I was just like, I need to talk to somebody.
Yes.
And everybody else in my family, like, you know, some people like oppose it. A lot of my family members don't even know that I went to therapy because I was just like, it's not really their business. Like, I just was like, I need to understand myself and how I interact with other people. So, like, what led you to not only join acting and doing model? Well, I know you're like beautiful, so it's like it's a given.
Thank you.
What led you to pursuing a career in therapy and combining it?
Yes, actually, I whenever I answer that question, I think of one or two things, but I think my whole life journey, growing up, my aunt lived with us who has schizophrenia, and I would, watch her live with her symptoms, which was, auditory hallucinations, visual, and I would just observe her. I was never afraid of it. I would just watch her on her journey. But what I did notice was how our community, the Black community, treated her and responded to her. So I asked my mom, I was like, why does the world treat her the way they do? And she said, as you know, your aunt is a very lovely person, but she has a mental illness, and the world and our community especially doesn't know quite how to respond to that yet. And I said, well, what can help her get better? And she said, well, she'll always have a mental disorder, but a psychiatrist and therapist is what's really helping her now. So at 5 years old, I knew what a therapist was, I knew what a psychiatrist was. Then I have two dads, and then one of them is a psychiatric nurse. And so I've been around a lot of the language, the academia. I was always really interested and intrigued by it. So when I found that I wanted to see a therapist, I was my freshman year in college. I was like, oh, I need the extra help. I'm just going to go to a therapist. It was like a common sense thing for me to do on campus. But I realized that my friends, my family, it wasn't always like just an automatic response. If I need the extra help, talk to someone. But for me, I was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go talk to somebody. And it was an amazing experience. And what led me to therapy is that I had an experience on campus where this upperclassman was probably under the influence of a lot of different things that night. It was Halloween night. And he was going around campus and he was sexually harassing and violating different girls. And he had gone up to my friends and he had made like inappropriate contact with them, and they froze. And as soon as I saw him walking over to me, I was like, oh no, like, you are not going to put your hands on me. Like, it is not that kind of a day.
Try me.
Right. Take several seats. But the problem is that when I did that, he became very violent, physically violent, verbally violent. Fortunately for me, my parents put me in martial arts at a very early age. So I was able to defend myself. I was fine. So I walked away from that situation safe, thank goodness. I didn't have to go through what a lot of women go through who experience something like that. Sometimes it goes too far. But what I did know is that I was starting to feel really anxious in crowds, but I'm very, I'm an extrovert, and that was unusual for me. So that was my cue of I need to go talk to someone. And that process with my therapist was so not only healing and cathartic, but it was so eye-opening that someone really can be responsible to help you heal from something that's so scary, right? And from like all of our anxieties and other disorders. And I was like, I want to be that key for someone else, especially women. So that's what made me go into the field. And of course, already having a draw for entertainment, I also studied theater at that time as well. But those were, I think, the two major things that led me to this career.
Well, I commend you, because to be Black and a female, that's one thing you're not supposed to share your thoughts. You're supposed to keep it in, bottled up, and take on the world. It's kind of like, or people use, I feel like a lot of my family and friends, they use each other as like therapists, and they think it's okay. And I'm like, it's not okay. Like, everybody's going through their own situation, their own triggers and things like that. And I'm like, I'm not a trash can. Don't like dump on me. This is not my profession. Like, I want to close off. Like, I'm a hermit. Like, I like to go in and just like figure things out on my own. And I don't like talking to other people, because I'm like, yeah, looking at how y'all living, like, I'm not gonna get advice from.
I'm good.
Huh?
You're like, I'm good.
Yeah, like I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. Let me go speak to people who are actually professional in it, because y'all don't even know what y'all doing with y'all own selves. Like, y'all can't tell me what to do. Like, so
Yes.
so like, therapy definitely healed me. Like, I seen a lot of my faults, right? I used to be like, I'm so great, and this person did this and this and that, and I'm there like, therapy led me to say, like, maybe if I didn't do that, and it started showing me who people really were, like,
Yes.
the manipulators and the victimizing people that just continue to play on your weaknesses or your kindnesses. And I just started seeing myself as a stronger person. Like, for me, I was reading your bio, right? And you were growing up as a free spirit, and always believed that you should have a happy life, right? Like, I always love smiling. I love smiling. I love being happy. That's me. Like, I don't like being sad or having people sad around me. And I used to get a lot of people who would say, like, why are you always smiling? And I used to be like, I didn't know that was a bad thing. Like, like,
Yes.
and then I started identifying those people as, like, they might have issues. I'm like, in that sense, I don't have an issue. Like, I'm like, I choose to live in the same area. I go through the same things, but I only focus on the positive, like what could be, and be hopeful. I'm like, because I don't want to live in that negative fear. Like, is that something that you see a lot? Like, like, with
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely have had my own struggles growing up. I didn't always have the most nurturing environments. I wasn't always allowed freedom of self-expression. Later in adolescence and childhood, my family was going through a lot, and they have their own traumas. But my early childhood, I definitely had the foundation of being allowed to be a free spirit. So, but I also had this period of suppression. So, really, as an adult, having to connect back with parts of myself that I had to disconnect from. Sometimes in families, depending on whatever trauma your family has yet to actually be healed, trauma that can be cyclical generation after generation, especially looking at our country now, you can see a lot of where our trauma comes from. It's pretty in your face now. So sometimes seeing someone hold a positive light, it's like, life is so difficult, I'm struggling, what are you happy about? So sometimes that might make me feel something about myself. Sometimes your happiness might show me that I'm not there And rather than me actually process that and get some help to work on that, I might lash out and take that out on you. So we also are dealing with our own traumas and not having the coping skills or the therapeutic support to work through them.
Amazingly put. Like, I used to be like, yo, like, what did I do? Like, it used to be all the good things that I would do. I'm like, I'm not perfect. Like, I used to just be like, you know, people used to literally try to break me down. Like, where it was like, I had an ex that came back to me and they're like, yo, I just commend you because you never broke when I tried to break you down. You went to college, you stayed focused. And I was like, wait, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a compliment, but then I was like, well, you really was trying to like break me down? Like, what are we doing? You know,
Right.
like, so it just was like, he was like, you're the happiest person or the most loving and caring person that I know. I'm like, but I still will cut you with my words. Like, I'm not soft. I just choose to be happy. It's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, I know who I am. I think a lot of people, I guess, struggle with knowing who they are, you know, where it's like, I don't have permission to be me. And I'm like, I am me all the time. Like, I'd be like, I wish you would. Like, you know, like, even when I was in school, I used to have people who thought they were bullies, you know, and when it came to me, I used to be like, how could they be bullies? Like, this person looked like this, that. Like, you're not about to come at me because I see all your issues. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know why you're mad. So I never like took it as somebody trying to bully me. I'm like, really? Like, you know. So I think that was my little way of navigating through childhood. So, you know, like, okay, so anyways, you mentioned
Well done.
you mentioned that you had two dads.
Yes, I do have two dads.
Yeah, so your mom transitioned.
Yes.
How was that for you to witness her transition and then now, like, you know, you have, I guess you, yeah. How was it for you?
Growing up, my mom and I we still are very close, but we were best friends. And we had, like, when you watch TV and you see the mother-daughter relationship, like, you know, matching jewelry, like, that was us. Very, very close. But one thing about my mom that I always noticed was that she just didn't seem complete. And I'm such an empath. I remember being a little girl and crying. And she's like, why are you crying? And I'm like, because I can feel your pain. And I had no idea. Back then, I had no idea what I was talking about, but I knew what I felt. I said what I said. Like, I knew what I felt. You know what I mean? So over the years, I saw that my mom's appearance began to just be a little bit more masculine, as you would call it. The hair got shorter, muscles got bigger, and just trying to find her way to connect with who she was. And then when I was in college, like early college, she sat me down and was like, listen, well, first she came out as being gay. When I was like about 10 years old. At that point, my mom and dad had split up, and my parents were already divorced by 8, and they always had a long distance marriage. My father is from Ghana, and so he's a high life musician, so he was always traveling. So I didn't grow up with him being fully present in my life. So that's why my mom and I were so close, and her mom, my grandmother, also very close. So that was like my, you know, really close family. And so when she came out as being gay, I was like, I was about 10 years old, and I was just like, you know, I know what that means, but kids are just very innocent. We're just like, okay, you know, whatever. But then when I got to early college, she said, actually, I know I'm transgender, and I am transitioning and just being true to myself, full circle to transition from female to male. And I had asked her at the time, I said, you know, can you tell me more? Because you raised me, women are so strong. Being a woman of color is so strong. And there's so much that we are capable of. And she said, yes, because I wanted you to grow up knowing where you come from and what you can do. But I wake up feeling like a man, and I look in the mirror and it's like I'm trapped in my own body. And I have felt this way my entire life. However, I wanted you to grow up with some normalcy. So I just worked through being in this female figure, this female role, so I could give you some consistency and give you a mother. But now I do have to be true to myself. And for me, what I heard was that I sacrificed my happiness, who I am, for you, for your childhood. And I know that he would never say that it's a sacrifice, but I was like, this was your happiness. And you knew what you identified as, you knew how you felt, as long as you've been alive. And your priority was to be a mom for me. And I thank you for that. At that point, I was, really, really young, but I was like, I got it. I'm in college. I'm like doing my own thing. Like, I want to support you on this journey. So I stood by his side throughout the entire transition, and to see how alive he is now, like now he's a life coach. Like, he is true to himself. He's walking in his own truth, his own light. He's sharing his energy with the world, and he is literally illuminating positive energy. And I'm so happy for him.
I'm happy for your father as well, because that takes a lot of guts and it takes strength. And to know that he was a female, and how strong we are, regardless, as females, Black females.
Yes.
So that's like 2 for 1 right there.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like, growing up in a single single parent house, like with my mother, she always says she's like my mother and my dad, right? So
yep.
It's kind of the same thing, but you have like the physical change. Where my mom has always been like the protector, like the provider, everything like that. So she embodied both the masculine and the feminine energies.
Yes.
So I come in that, and I'm just all for people just being who they are. Just
they are, yeah.
Why not? Like, who else are you going to be?
I don't know how I would feel, feeling suppressed in my truth. I could not live to my fullest, and I'm fortunate to be free. I would never want anyone to be denied of that, ever.
Right. Like, at first when it comes to transgender, I used to think it was like something mental, right? Mm-hmm. And you're a therapist, so I'm like, I used to think it was something mental, because it was like, you're saying you're not comfortable in who you were created to be. And after hearing what you were saying, like how your father felt, it was just, it's enlightened. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just kind of like, live, like, we only got one life to live on this thing. Yes. Like, I don't know. The more I get to know myself, the more I know more people, because I'm like, yes, you just want to live your life and be happy. Like, I don't know anybody else and what they're going through, so why should I sit here and judge them? Like, it's not my business. You know what I'm saying? As long as this person is not hurting and harming anybody else, and they're just live. You know what I'm saying? If they exactly, no harming, no kids and all that extra stuff. So I have no problem with that. So and I knew a transgender, but it was a male turning female, and she was in my beauty school.
Oh, and, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so she was just like, just doing people's hair and makeup and stuff like that. And she was supposed to go to this college with me to talk about her I think she was doing some project in empowering some youth, but our classmate was in college, so she invited us to like be guest speakers. I had a nonprofit at the time, and she did that. Like, so I was just like, she was so nervous. She was like, I don't know if I could do it. I was like, why can't you do it? She was just like, I guess she was going through anxiety. I had that too, but I was just like, well, what? Yeah. So I'm an empath as well. So I'm just kind of like, what is it? And she was just like, I don't know if you know, but I'm a transgender. And I was like, girl, I've been knew that. Like, I'm like, that didn't change, that didn't stop me from being your friend. Like, I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain characteristics in the male when they're transitioning, right? Like, you can see, like, in their hands, sometimes in their neck and stuff like that. Just pretty. She looked like Jennifer Hudson, right? So, wow. Yeah, so I was like, girl, I already know. Like, what are you nervous about? Like, just go ahead, talk to these people. Like, you're human. Like, just talk from your heart.
Yeah. Human first. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of like, girl, and it brought her like anxiety down because she just was like vulnerable with me, and I was just like, girl, I got anxiety right now because I don't like talking in front of people, like, you know what I'm saying, like at
Yeah.
all. But she had a lot of information to give, and I was just like, if you have information that can benefit a lot of people, like, just don't care about anything else. Just focus on what you're here for. So I try to do I'm not a therapist, so I try to do as less damage as possible when talking
Yeah,
to
just someone love, someone support. I get it.
Okay, so now you focus more on self-love and health practices. How is that?
Yeah, to me, self-love, in my opinion, is the formula for any kind of sense of feeling whole, of feeling fulfilled. Our minds are with us 24/7. And if you were to actually think about the amount of thoughts that come into your brain every hour, every minute, every day, it's a lot of information. And for a lot of us, for most of us, a lot of that information is negative. A lot of negative self-talk is what's happening up here. So when we're living with things like anxiety, I live with anxiety as well. And when I'm feeling the most anxious, if I take a minute to ask myself, what am I thinking about at this time? Usually it's not the most supportive thought. So I really try and encourage people to not just be aware of your thoughts, but to make sure that everything around you like feels your energy up, supporting this self-love journey. And self-love sometimes can feel like, oh, it's like nirvana or it's heaven. It's like this destination. But self-love really, in my opinion, is a journey. It's a journey of a lot of steps and moments of self-care and self-compassion that you're giving yourself, that just to make yourself feel good, period. Because number one, no one can love you like you love you. And if you don't learn how to love yourself,
Best kind of love.
right. If we don't learn how to love ourselves, how are we going to receive a healthy, non-toxic type of love from someone else? So I really encourage people to try and be aware of your thoughts, be aware of what you feed to this, from the things you watch, to the things you listen to the things you read, to how much news you're taking in. Like, yes, stay informed, but if you're already feeling anxious, maybe don't watch the news right now. Maybe don't talk to this person right now.
Exactly. And then you get bombarded with a whole bunch of videos of these killings, and it's like, it's overwhelming for someone, especially who's suffering from anxiety, where it's just like constant, and you just want to declutter and detoxify your brain. Like, it's just like, can I get a break? Can I, can I smile? Like, just for 2 seconds?
Laugh. Yes.
Like, it almost feels like it's a disrespect if you laugh. Like, you know, if you smile, if you're happy in this moment. And it's like, I need that. Like, laughter is the medicine. And if I don't, I'm gonna destruct. And how can I be helpful to the cause if I'm falling apart? And people don't understand that unplug that you need. Like, it's just, I keep blocking people. I just be I be like, look, I'm gonna block you. I told my mother, I said, I'm gonna block you. Told my sister, I'm gonna block you, because I'm like, I gotta be truthful.
Yes.
I'm like, and then when I unblock them, they do it again, and I'm just like, block again. Like, stop sending me videos. Call me, have a conversation. But the videos is like, it's enough. Like, it's viral. I seen it. Like,
it's everywhere. It's in all of our faces for a reason. Yes, but what comes into my space and my energy, I'm monitoring that. So there's nothing wrong with setting boundaries, because your health and wellness comes first before anything.
Exactly. And self-love, people think it's selfish, but I'm like, it's not. It's actually, when I started doing the whole self-love journey, like, it was painful, because I sat there, I cried, I had to really look at myself in the mirror and be like, and I apologize for all that situation going on in the background. If you hear babies and all that.
It's all good.
So, no worries. You know, like, disclaimer. Yeah, when I started sitting and facing the truth, like, who I am, and then dissecting who I am and what I wanted to attract in my life, the
Yes.
people around me, you know, am I someone that I want to be with or be around? And I started doing that, and I was like, there's some things I might need to change, like the negative self-talk, right? The criticism, like I'm like, Karen, oh, you stupid. And I'd be like, no, you're not. No, you're not. This is learning.
Yeah, you catch it and you reframe it. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm
And
just
you
like,
have to remember too, like these inner critics that we live with don't come from we are not born with inner critics. It does not come out of thin air. It does not happen because you just grow up and boom, you're left with this negative self-talk. A crying, I don't want to disturb the peace. No, I have needs. I'm gonna get these needs met. I'm gonna cry to let you know that I have things that you need to do for me. If I don't like you, I'm not gonna pretend that I like you. You see babies that are just like, not for it. Yes. Not
okay.
for it.
But not everybody's like that. Not everybody's
Right.
like that.
So
People will they start
learn
to
over
feel
time.
fake and phony, and they smiling with somebody that they can't stand. My face tells everything. Okay,
Yes.
if I don't like somebody, I'm
the
like,
same. I'm the same. Yes.
energy is everything, and I'm there like, no, I don't like this. I don't like how this
Energy is everything. Yes.
And it's like you can see the fakeness in certain people, and you're just kind of like, I feel like when you do that inner work on yourself and you are grounded, you really, the mask is off. Like you really can see through a lot of BS.
Yeah.
So like before I used to be like, oh, I don't know who this person is and and do they, I don't know. Now I'm like, oh, I'm not dealing with that. Like I will cut it off at the yellow flag. Like I do not wait for red flags. Like I'd be like,
yellow flag, yes.
at the yellow, like I slow it down and then I complete stop because people, like because of their whole backgrounds and what they're going through, I feel like they do try to use people and manipulate, and when they see people are kind or willing to help and all of that, they take it as an opportunity, and it's just kind of like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm human. I have my own feelings. But I have to check people and stuff like that, but and say no a lot. Like now I say nope, like I set boundaries. I have to set the boundaries, and I guess not assume that people can read my mind. I used to think that. I'm like, don't you know how I feel? Like, no, I'm like, let me tell you how I feel now, right when it happens, so there's no confusion. Because I think I used to just assume that, and that was one of the problems in the past, right? Assumption.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's true. It's so important. Like clarifying questions. If I don't know something, ask. If I need something, say it. If I don't want to do it, give myself permission to say no and to feel whatever I want to feel. I feel like even sometimes, like we even can judge ourselves during this self-love process. Like, oh man, I thought a negative thought again. But again, like those thoughts didn't come. You weren't born with those thoughts. People have given us incorrect messages over years of our lives. For some of us, all of our lives, from school to dysfunctional or hurt family. All that stuff builds up and that becomes our narrative. So just like it took time for that to be your narrative, it's going to take time to change the narrative, but that's the fun part. The fun part is like connecting with yourself to be aware of what you're thinking and feeling in the first place. And like, I want to gift myself something different and something new.
that makes sense. Okay, so since you and I suffer from anxiety, on a level from 1 to 10, how much anxiety, like how far up was it when you took this call? Like during this call?
Today? Oh, now? Oh, right now I feel fine. Anxiety is an agitated state of the body. The mind experiences frequent worrying, and the anxiety is the body's physical agitation in response to what the mind is thinking. Over time, and when you get into that loophole of all these thoughts that pull you in, or these emotions that you don't interrupt, that we don't interrupt, the mind and body then become convinced that you're in danger and that something is wrong. So we have all of these internal responses and feelings, not just to be diagnosed and to get medication, but that served us well over time throughout human evolution. These are the things that kept us safe and alive because we lived different lifestyles eons and eons ago, right? Mm-hmm. So now it's like that same surge of energy comes back to surface. We're like, uh-oh, let's get rid of it. But it's like, let's take a minute to understand what's going on first. You know, so I would say today's been great. This week has had its ups and downs because of everything that's going on in the media. I wanted to take a break from social media, but I also feel like as a public figure, it's my job to actually use that as an outlet to try and keep people encouraged, to send positive messages out there. So I'm just very intentional about what I'm going on for. I make sure that I am in a calm and grounded state before I go on social media. And if I notice that change, that is my sign, my body's way of communicating with me that I've had enough stimulation for the day. So I'm going to take a break. So I just make sure that I stay tuned in so that I can meet my needs. So I don't try and get rid of anxiety. I listen to it to know how to meet my emotional, physical, and spiritual needs in that moment.
Yes to all of that. See,
yes.
I mean, I'm learning. Like, this is an exchange right here. Oh no, because I wanted to I think you touched on something and I was just like, what was it? Managing anxiety, because for me, like, every time I'm about to speak to somebody, I guess it's the anxiety of, I don't know this person, you know, like I'm just like, oh my God, I need to make sure everything is thing. So then it's like mild, it's not crazy, but then I have to step back and be like, everybody's human. Everybody might just be, you know, nervous at the same time. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just have a cool conversation. Everything will flow.
And like, that's a normal response. Like, it's not like you're saying, oh, I have to go brush my teeth right now. I'm a little anxious about that, which is nothing wrong with it. That's the case. But you're describing an experience where your response of anxiety matches the situation. Makes sense. I'm meeting somebody new. I'm doing something in front of people or being recorded. I might feel anxious about that. Okay. I don't think that's disproportionate.
Oh, okay. Because that's where it comes. Like, I just be like, and then I'm just like, Karen, look, stop. Like, it's, for me, it's like every time I'm like on a video or something like that, to have like that anxiety, and you said like it's good to have it because then it like helps you know how to navigate certain things. So I love my anxiety. Now I love my anxiety.
Love your anxiety. Every part of you, the anxious part, the depressed part, the angry part, the happy part, every part of you.
Yes. Yeah. And I learned to not like suppress my sensual or sexual self.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
that
sexuality for us as women. Yes, that's definitely a thing that's not always like celebrated, you know. So that's important too.
Yeah, you get people who you're a pageant, you're in the pageants, right? So I do now, but I had stopped. I used to dress up all the time, wear dresses and stuff like that, made up, my hair's all, and people, again, it used to reflect on them and they used to be like, why are you always dressing up? I'm like, we are going out. Like, why wouldn't I dress up? We're going to a club. Like, why you got on a t-shirt? Like, I'm not asking you that. Like, you know, like, this is what I want to wear. So I started distancing myself from people like that who would nitpick everything that I had on. Like, oh,
right. You want your friends to celebrate you, right? Like, yes, we celebrate each other. It's always a good exchange. Like, it's an exchange of, I'm going to look out for you and tell you if you're maybe slipping off course out of love, because I'm going to look out for you. But it's always well-intended interaction. That's healthy friendship.
Right. Yes. So I identified the like unhealthy friendships early on, relationships and things, and I just was like, and then I got called like, oh, you acting funny, or you think you better than. I'm like, no, I'm just protecting myself. Like, I love myself enough to not allow myself to be put through certain things because somebody feels a way. Like, I no longer tolerate oh, that's just that person, that's just how they are. No, I'm like, no. People know who to talk to when they talk to. Like,
yes.
you know what I'm saying? Like, they know and they don't do it to people who don't allow them. And I'm just like, I'm not here for none of that. And until you respect that, then I'll allow you in my circle. But at the end of the day, I'm just kind of like, I'm gonna dress up. I'm gonna put my, I'm gonna get my hair done.
Live my best life.
Right.
And not have to explain it to anybody.
And it's not to, and I feel like people feel like it's to like, well, some people do it to like make people feel bad. But I'm like, if you're happy and genuinely happy, like you can literally see people glow, right? They aren't trying, they're positive, they're helping other people, and they're glowing at the same time. And I'm pretty sure this is you, like, you are embodying that. So it's just sad when the very people that you're trying to help or put on is, looking at you like, and I guess it's what they refuse to change, or they don't want to do the work.
The thing is, I remind myself that everybody is here for their own journey. And if everybody would behave the way that felt the best for me, meaning everyone would make sure they were always nice to me, always supportive, that would mean that life is always perfect. Life is always great. But life is not meant to always be perfect. Life is not meant to only have positive experiences. Duality exists within everything. It's like the dark and the light, the happy and the sad, and one exists for a reason. They each serve their own purpose. And there's also existing in the middle. So sometimes bad people can still do good things, can still volunteer and donate $500,000 to a charity. And sometimes good people can stab you in the back. So it's also remembering that everyone is duality. And everyone can exist somewhere in the middle, and we may fluctuate from one side to the next, but everyone is here in their own journey. So I remind myself that that is their journey. I may not allow it, I may still set a boundary, but I'm not going to welcome them in to my personal journey. They can stay over there.
I hear that. Like, and it is true. Duality does exist. Like, there's a lot of things that I've gone through that I'm just like, I'm thankful that I've gone through it, because that's who it made me who I am now, right? Like, some people feel like it would probably have broken them, and they're like, I want to be mad at the world, and I'm just kind of like, for what? We only got how much years, days, hours left on this planet, and being Black, that kind of cuts that down if you come across the wrong person. So it's like, why am I going to sit here and dwell on all of the bad stuff that's happened to me? And just kind of like, I've learned how to forgive people. I think
right.
Like through me figuring out, going through something, and I'm just like, I'm not perfect. Damn, I wish I got forgiveness for that. Like, please forgive me. Like, when I started to see my faults, I'm like, just like I want forgiveness, I have to forgive other people. Like, it's just like that human, just, like, it frees us up, so
it does. And I tell people, it's also okay to be where they are in their journey, right? Like, if you are at a place right now where you just are holding anger, okay. Like, maybe allow yourself that freedom to have that emotional expression. A lot of us as family, especially in our Black community, certain emotions were not allowed in our household. Fix your face. You know what I mean? Like, give me something to cry about.
Right. Put a smile on your face. Smile. Like.
Right. So, so also allowing yourself, like, when is your time to just feel what you need to feel. You said you worked through a lot and were able to get to a place where you're able to forgive. Like, it sounds like it was a process for you, so like to give yourself, the opportunity to have that process and that experience to get to a point where you felt ready to do that is also good. So I tell people, like, feel what you feel, but then ask yourself, when is it no longer productive for you to stay there?
You are amazing. I'm just saying that, like, yes. Okay, yes. Because everybody's like, do you know any Black therapists? I'm like, now I do. I know one. Andromeda Peters. Okay, so with health, right? Because I feel like actually I like your slogan, your mind matters, right?
Yeah.
I'm like edges matter. So
yes, they do.
yes,
As well.
so your mind matters, and I feel like a lot of people clear their mind, they do the meditation, but then it's like the food that comes in to their body and nourishes them and stuff like that. Like right now, you see me drinking my little.
I saw that earlier, a little green juice.
Yeah, like yesterday I had to I went to sleep super early, like 7 o'clock, and just was done for the rest of the day. I had felt like I took on so much and was drained that I was just like, I need the rest. Today I was like, I need to detox. Like I need to drink, do a little quick fast, because my mind is all over the place. And I need to ground it. So I'm not sure, but I've seen your smoothies and stuff. Like, are you vegan?
I say I'm a vegan wannabe. So I eat about 90% vegan, maybe actually 95 or 98.9. The other small percentage of not eating vegan is the family on my father's side is from Ghana. So, and I do enjoy some of our traditional food. I don't eat any of the heavier meat, but I do eat some of our fish dishes that we have, especially like going back home and being around my family or like cultural gatherings. So I will allow myself to just celebrate my culture and do our traditions. But aside from that, I eat vegan.
Okay, because I eat salmon and I eat escovitch fish. But everything else, no meat. I do eat eggs. Like I'm like, if I could go to a vegan, I would eat vegan all day, but I'm not a vegan. Right? Like I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm like,
yeah.
Cause it gets a little crazy. Like I started I started talking to nature. I used to talk to the insects. I'm like, please remove yourself from my facility. Please
Absolutely.
Like, I'm like, what is going on? I used to kill bugs. Like, now I'm over here like.
You're loving life. You're loving up on life, and life is loving up on you, girl.
Yeah, like, I'm there like, what is happening? You know, like, it's just a weird feeling, but it is really grounding. So, for you, what do you recommend when it comes to, like, the whole mind matters movement that you're on?
Yeah. Everything is connected, mind, body, soul. Some people don't have a spiritual connection, but I personally do have one. And I think that if one thing is out of alignment, if I am centered within myself, I'll notice. If I'm not centered within myself, several things can feel misaligned within my body, and I will have no idea. I'll just be running on autopilot. And I have had several moments where that's pretty much how I'm living, days, weeks, months, maybe almost a year on autopilot. No time for me to just ground and connect with myself. So for me, it's all about connection, connecting with my physical body, connecting with my spirit body inside, which I believe, that, we have that direct connection to the universe, to creator. So I make sure that even though I'm busy, like even right now during quarantine, I'm still doing some therapy. I'm still doing things like this and workshops and connecting with people virtually, especially. I did some work on the front lines as well. I still made sure that even in the midst of that, or even in the midst of photo shoots or castings, or, when things are like up and running and entertainment for me, that I carve out moments during my day to connect with self. And of course, the ideal thing is to have one day a week where you're doing nothing, but not all of us have a luxury of being able to have one day a week just to ourselves. So I work with what I got. So in the morning, I make sure that for about 15, 20 minutes that I meditate. For me, that's just sitting in silence, whether it's listening to like the sounds in my room, or where I'm staying, like the fan or like my diffuser, whatever it is, I'm just tuning into that sound. Sometimes I'll also listen to binaural beats to meditate with my headphones. There's so many of them on YouTube, or guided meditations on different mindful apps. And YouTube has some really good guided meditations too that I also really enjoy. So that's my time. And then movement for me in the morning is also really important. If I can't do a full workout, I'll try and do some yoga. If I can't do yoga, I'll do some stretching. If I can't go for a run, I'll do some chair cardio. There's a lot of hard chair cardio videos on YouTube that will whoop your butt, So I do things that bring me that joy, and that movement is really important to me. Like connecting and noticing if I have any aches and pains or things that feel off, and just like, just like making that contact with yourself, and just like when do you hug yourself? Hugging yourself is important. When you just take a moment to ask yourself, like, what do I need? And then what I feed my body is also really important, especially in the morning. Like the morning, first wake up and right before you go to sleep is like where there's most silence. So it's good to like insert. Yeah. So first thing in the morning when you first wake up and right before bed, your mind is the most easily influenced, because that's when you have the less chatter. Like that self-talk and that chatter and the worries and all the things that flood our minds haven't happened yet. That stimulation hasn't occurred. So it's really like striking that area early on to make sure that you are putting the good stuff in your mind and body when you first wake up, and especially right before bed. So, and all throughout my day, I will like set an alarm on my phone every hour. I have my clients do this. Every hour, set your alarm, ask yourself what you need physically, emotionally, spiritually, how are you feeling? And just take a few moments to breathe and connect with yourself and to check in. And do that every hour, and make sure that you have time to like listen to affirmations throughout your day. You can go on YouTube and play I Am Positive Affirmations playlists that are like 2 to 3 hours long, and you're constantly hearing good things about yourself. Post-it notes of good affirmations, writing affirmations down so that you're always putting in the good stuff. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, this is my affirmation wall.
Yes, and like finding things that ground yourself. I also sell essential oils to doTERRA, and like making sure I use my oils to make sure that I'm always like smelling good things that I need to smell, whether I'm putting essential oils on my body. That also helps calm anxiety a lot, diffusing them, whether it's in your office or in your bedroom, wherever you're relaxing, like breathing in the good stuff, because that stuff also gets in your bloodstream and it affects your body in a really positive way. What you're watching, if I want to watch some trash TV, okay, I'll intentionally watch it, but I have a cutoff. Or if I'm feeling anxious, I'm not going to watch it. I'll watch something. Yeah. So, and then like, of course, like feeling your body all throughout your day. Good stuff. Good conversation. Like gossiping, like may seem fun to get the tea, but after a while it gets old and you begin to attract exactly what you're talking about. Like, so being mindful of that.
Exactly. No,
how you spend your time.
It is true. Like the TV, like the certain shows, like I try not to watch certain shows before bed, because it's like I start fighting in my dream. Like I'm like, yo, look, I can't be running and trying to like save my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I try to make sure that I like now I'm starting to keep my phone outside my room.
Yes.
And do not disturb. Like I'm not trying to hear nobody. Like, well, New Year's Eve, I always do that. Like I do not talk to nobody. Like I turn it on. I'll be like, I'm going into the new year with none of y'all and y'all drama. I'm just gonna go in zen, and that's how I kind of think. Like I always try to go the next day with a little bit clear. I was speaking to somebody yesterday, and 2 days ago, and she was telling me about breakfast, and she was like, it's like break fast, like you're fast. And I was like, oh my God, now I can just like make sure that I'm intentional with breakfast, like what am I going to eat? Because it basically activates my body, and it, so it's just so weird that it's not weird, but it's like so amazing. I would say that God created a body where everything kind of functions together, where it's like what you eat, what you breathe, what you smell, like it's all of that helps your mind and helps you stay centered. So it's so weird. Like, I don't know. It's just amazing. Like, I don't understand.
We have everything we need. And yes, we experience pain, and when we can connect back with who we are beneath all of that pain and those experiences or identities that we've assumed in our life roles, we realize that how amazing we really are as beings. Like if you think about, there was this experiment where the scientists said they had water in one pail, water in another, and they spoke all of these really, really bad things to this water on one side and really good things to this water, and they froze it. And the water that was frozen on the negative side was distorted and disconfigured. And on the other side that was positive, it was beautiful. They were like ice crystals and snowflakes, and we are 70%, I think 70% water. So imagine how much impact these words have on our bodies and ourselves, even our physical bodies.
When you,
so I never forgot about that experiment. Yeah.
when you say it like that, it makes sense. Like today I was like talking to my edges, right? My curls were like curling up. I was like, I see you growing. Go ahead, little hairs. Like, like I was there like, yes. And it's, starting to grow out. But it was just like, just that self-love, self-talk. And but when you said like the water being talking to it so positively, and how much it affects us because we're made up of mostly water, and how the universe, like the moon, it controls a lot of the emotions and stuff like that. But not too many people understand how much the universe and all of it works together on the person. And it's like chemical imbalances, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everything is connected. I even saw this post today that talked about certain planets being in alignment with our planet right now. I think like 3 different planets, and throughout the course of history, there were about 3 or 4 major changes that occurred that are in our history books today, when all these planets were in alignment exactly like they are right now. So for me, that actually gave me a sense of hope, because like we there's so much happening, and it's so stimulating and triggering, but just the pressure is what makes the diamond. There's going to be so much good in the end that does come from this. And I'm angry and I'm sad that lives, have been lost and families have been torn apart to get to this point. We don't have to go through all this pain to get to good, but good ultimately is what is prevailing right now. This is how change, long-term change, happens, especially systematically. Doesn't have to be like this, but that's what's going to happen, I believe.
That's how they respond. They respond to violence and all of that stuff. And it's just kind of like, even in birth, the painful contractions and all of that, and your body is like feeling like it's ripping apart, only to deliver something so beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like just going through all of those. And I feel like we do lose a lot of people on the front lines, like especially like in war. Like we'll take this, soldiers are like, I'm willing and I believe in this cause, I'm going to go out there, and I know my life might be in jeopardy, but it's because I believe in this so much. Like, and I feel like everybody that's on the front lines doing their thing, like that's what basically they're saying. It's kind of unsaid, but it's like they're willing to put their life, because it's like, what's the point of living if this is what our conditions are? I'm fighting for my unborn child, or my kids and things like that. So it's so beautiful, and it's like, it's so sad at the same time, but it's just kind of like, none of these lives should be gone in vain. Like, it's just kind of like, we got you. We're gonna keep on moving. Like, we're gonna take y'all spirits, right? We're gonna take y'all energy, and we're gonna put it in our bank so we can like push forward. Because I think that's what a lot of people haven't tapped in on those other times, the other times that we marched and things like that. It's the spiritual part, right? Like, it's kind of like, are we tapping into those who passed, like the ancestors, to give us that strength?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's true, yeah, because we're a different generation, so these are things we haven't lived before, so yeah, but you're right, this is, in a way, it's not exactly history repeating itself, but it's a historic process that we have gone through generations and generations previously in this country, especially.
Yeah, I mean, we got time. The pandemic then gave us time. We are home.
That's right.
We got
That's
time.
Right.
Coming outside, we like, I don't even care. I'm taking this mask off. We about to fight, because for 3 months we couldn't go nowhere. We can't go shopping. We can't go sit in a restaurant. We can't go on dates. We mad, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we fueled up right now. So to do that is just kind of like, I think it more so for me, it's like not angry, but activated. Like, it just, I feel like it tapped into something and like just awoken like, oh, okay, I think this is the time. It's about to go down. So
Yeah.
I'm just praying for everybody mentally, like, and spiritually, where we can really tap into ourselves, because I feel like the pandemic gave us that time. A lot of
Yes.
people to just get to know themselves because they, by themselves. So it's kind of like,
Yeah, it's true.
who are you? You're wearing your hair natural.
Yeah.
Face, you can't get your face beat. You gotta look in the mirror and love yourself. So
Yeah.
so I feel like a lot of people are just kind of like waking up to who they are. So I think whatever society, the evilness in that, what they tried to do, I think they didn't calculate or put in the fact that there was different I don't know how to say it, factors that was this time that's different than it used to be. It's like we have biracial couples, interracial couples, biracial kids, people are friends. Like it's a different, more people are together than before.
I definitely agree. Yeah, we walk in a lot of life journeys together. So there was even another march in DC today, and the area is predominantly white. So there were maybe about 5 or 6 Black people, and the rest of the march was all white people for the movement. Yeah,
It's beautiful.
I
It's
cried.
like,
I kind of literally cried.
it's beautiful. Like I'm just kind of like I was on the viewing. I was watching it, and people kept on saying all lives matter, all lives matter, and I just was like, look, let me. I'm not gonna set the tone and start arguing. I just was like, I hope all the people who saying all lives matter is telling that to the cops, because we know all lives matter. And the one of the people who wrote that, she messaged me and was like, I do, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just trying to make sure because we get it. The point is we matter too, and that's what it's just kind of like.
The point also is that it's not about you right now. How about
Right.
that? Like, how about it's just not about you right now, and just let that go, and you can say your spiel a little bit later, but like share space, hold space for other people right now.
They always about they have to be involved. What about me? It makes me feel bad. Like, again, therapy should be for all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Listen, your own shame and your own guilt for your lack of involvement in the current issue that exists called racism is not mine to take on. Redirect it somewhere else because I don't have time for it.
right? We angry, we dying. Like, we ain't got no time.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
we don't have any time, and it's just like, how do you not see this as a problem?
Yeah.
And what
I hear a lot of my clients, some clients who I've worked with in the past talk about how when they disclose their trauma to their families, it's like, then I found myself apologizing because of how my trauma and my pain made them feel. I'm like, that is gaslighting to the T. So I put a post on Instagram, I was like, don't let them gaslight you. Your pain is your pain, period.
Right. It's like, if you tell somebody, this is how I feel, this is how you made me feel, they be like, well, I wasn't trying to sound like that. It's not what you was trying. This is what I felt. That's how I interpret it. And this is what, like, we all have triggers. And I think people, when they do that, they try to silence you and make you feel bad for how you interpreted something. I'm like, we can all, maybe the problem is, for me, I work on my delivery. Like, I have to work on my delivery because I can come off a little brutal, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I've seen that. I'm like, you know what? Let me take a minute. Let me pause before I address certain things, and just so people don't feel like I'm attacking them, because, depending on my tone, like I could be vicious. So I'm just like, I'm about building and not breaking, building and not breaking. How can we communicate? Because if I'm yelling, that person yelling, we both don't hear nothing. It's not going to resolve anything. What is going on? You know what I'm saying? So, I think it's more the people in their delivery Like, but the
we're also, it's also what's happening now is like we're shaking up change. We're shaking up what has been the allowed norm for way too long. And when you're shaking things up, even in our own families, like I want to talk about intergenerational trauma. It's not always gonna be like, okay, like tell me how you feel. I'm here for you. I support you. You might meet some resistance at first. And that's what's happening. We're meeting a lot of resistance at first because now it's to a point where no one is tolerating it. And now it's the point where we are having these conversations about white privilege. And now no one can run from it and nobody can hide from it. You can't. Mm-hmm. So yes, sometimes it has nothing to do with you. It's just the resistance. It's the shock factor. It's the, okay, now it's time for accountability and ownership. Now I have to do my part and educate myself. Like, I don't want to change my routine. I don't want to do that. And then what happens is they either wake up, decide to just tune in and connect with their environment and themselves and implement that change, or you don't. It's like your doctor saying, okay, like, you know, in order to save your liver, your body, you have to cut out all alcohol. Well, maybe I don't want to cut out alcohol. I'm used to having my drink happy hours after work. But like, change is not always easy for anybody. And it's not an excuse, but at the same time, there's a reason why a lot of resistance come up. And there's a lot of, like I said, guilt and shame. And sometimes that guilt and shame, more often than not, is redirected back at the people who are being hurt in the first place. And that's another thing that we have to address and talk about.
That's a real good analysis. Like, I'm a loss for words. Okay. That was a good, like, image that you gave with the whole liver and liquor, where you know something's bad, but you're like, you know what, like, how many years do I got left? You know, like, like.
Yeah, I've been doing it for years. My whole family does it. My whole family drinks. Like, I have to do what now? Like.
Yeah, like, so it's a lot of people that it's just kind of like, since it's so much people doing the same thing, why do I need to change? Like, you're like, yeah. We all change it. But the thing is, what I am so hopeful is that it's more people on the side of justice than there is racism. Like, I feel like society has tried to make it look like racism is huge and it's going to empower us so to keep us in fair. But I'm like, I don't think it's that anymore, where it's like these, little white people that's trying to hold on to their power, like, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they're trying to instill it in their kids and stuff like that. But those things, I feel like for the kids, can be broken, can be changed. But it's the ones that are old and stuck and stubborn. They're just trying to make it look like they're the majority, but they really, I don't feel like they are. I don't know if
it's a bigger, it's that, and it's a bigger systems issue than anything. It's a lot of also the institutional racism that we're seeing through the judicial system, through our neighborhoods, through our schools, through jobs, through pretty much everything. It's the way in which the world interacts with us in America. So people say, oh, it's getting better. And like, yes, like the certain things have gotten better, but then there are certain things that have also grown and taken that place as a result of it. Mm-hmm. Because we don't live the way that we used to live hundreds of years ago. No. We're all going to work together, but are we gonna get the same salary? That's another question. Are my kids gonna get a good education in our neighborhoods? Am I gonna have access to healthy food or good health care? Like, that's another question. Like, it's dispersed in different ways now because our systems have changed.
You ain't never lie. You ain't never lie. I know I used to work with a person named Amy. And she lived and worked in Boston, so she was like the supervisor of like our boutique. And I used to be like, she used to try to come at me, and I used to be like, would you like me to come up to Boston so we can speak in person? Like, she's like, no, it's not. It's okay. I'm like, 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 I'm like, I will read you. I did go to college. I will read you everything. Like, do not play with me.
Right.
Like,
and like, even some emotions that like we're not allowed to have, like at work or the
You broke up.
Or the maybe back, not, you know, all these labels, and it's just like no, like
Yeah, no,
this
they
is what
don't
we need to be talking about too. There's
they
so much to
don't.
talk about.
It is. Oh my God. So
It's just the
we're
beginning.
we're over 45 minutes. We're over an hour. Because there's so much stuff and there's so many things that you do. So it's like I want to touch on everything, but I can't. So is there anything?
I know I do a lot, but yeah.
But that's fine. I mean, under the sun, we only live one life. And to me, it's like do everything and anything and do not put yourself in the box. Like people be like, so what do you do? I'm like, what don't I do? Like that is what.
Exactly.
I'm like, I love figuring out things, learning new things, and just challenging myself. So that's all I do. I just like to challenge myself because that's what living is. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, my capacity, what else can I do? You know, so what are you doing currently? What is your besides teaching people about self-love and the healthy way of living? Are there any projects that you're working on right now?
Really right now, the biggest thing, like, of course, entertainment, a lot of that is on pause for now because of the pandemic. So, but before the pandemic had started, I was preparing for a transition to New York City to start doing acting and modeling more on a full-time basis. While still continuing, of course, thank you, to do a lot of the mental health trainings and workshops that I do in educating. However, I am choosing to go into the industry more intentionally. So not just being a model, but being a model that also has a cause and a message, because there is a lot of, I don't want to say neglect, but just things that can change in the fashion and beauty industry. So just making sure that I'm a face for self-love still, for body positivity still, for diversity and beauty. And making sure that, you know, like mental health can still be prioritized for, you know, different entertainers and like those vulnerabilities being allowed, you know, because, you know, there's long hours that you work and it's a lot. You fly everywhere and it's exhausting, but it's like, you know, having space for, you know, my need for self-care as well in the midst of doing a job. So I want to just make sure that I bring this message with me. I also said my family is from Ghana, so it's always been my dream to pursue a lot of entertainment opportunities in West Africa. So this past winter, I was able to go to Ghana and Nigeria and explore opportunities there. And there are some things that are coming up that I'll be able to go back to that side of the world, on the continent, back home to work on. So I'm really excited. So I'm doing what I love to do. I'll be on our coast, I'll be on the coast in West Africa, and just continuing my work, but also making sure that no matter how big my platform gets, it gets me a larger foundation for my message in mental health and self-love.
Congratulations to all of that and the travel. Like I'm with you in spirit when it's traveling because I've never been to Africa, any country in Africa. So I'm just kind of like, whew, when I do, I'm gonna be in there. Those Ghana, Nigeria. But I really do commend you on all of that stuff. And I know I just want to make sure everybody knows to follow you on at Self-Love Therapist and at Andromeda Peters. And of course, it's gonna all be like typed in and on for the Spotify, so they'll be able to see all your information. But I don't want to keep you too long because I was gonna start talking about packing and how crazy that is, unpacking and stuff like that. But I was like,
packing. Oh, I will say this. I enjoy packing. I plan it in advance. I have notebooks for like if I'm going like to this country or to this day. I have it all worked out. I have my outfits ready to go, and I also have a team of people who help me, so I can't say all the credit. But it's the unpacking that I loathe. That's a whole nother situation.
like I'd be like, what did I forget? Like I just want to pack like I just want to go to places and just buy what I need and then like ship it or something like that. Like it's just like that's how famous I want to be. I don't want to pack not big. Like, um,
Life goals right there. Yeah, let me
you know, like I just want to get up, go somewhere, and just be like, all right, let's go to the store. Um, that is my goal. But okay, so we spoke on that. That was something that was kind of off topic, but on topic. That's something,
absolutely on topic.
you know. So thank you so much, Andromeda.
Thank you.
You are amazing, beautiful, and I hope you win another Miss United States.
Yeah, I love pageants so much, but I definitely, my heart is definitely in entertainment now. So maybe you'll see me in a movie one day like Gal Gadot, because she was Miss Israel, now she's Wonder Woman. So I'm on that path.
Well, I know, but you'll always be Miss United States to me.
That is true. That is true.
And then now that you're going to be in entertainment, I'm like, there goes Andromeda. Like, you know, so I'm definitely a cheerleader. You have a fan over here.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great night and many blessings. Stay safe.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you again for listening to Beauty and Braids. I'm your girl Karen, and this has been another great day. Until next time, you'll hear from me then. In the meantime, please follow me on @HairByKaren, @ShopBraidAppeal, and @YTC Nonprofit. Get to know me a little bit better. Check them out. Bye.